Good evening, class. My name is Jovan Burton, and in this presentation, I will be discussing Common Issues, Chapter 10, in the Sega readings. So, a quick overview of the chapter, pages 180 to 184. There are three topics that we're going to discuss. Who are we addressing? So, that means when you're looking at your overall research project or action research project, what audience are you addressing? Are you addressing your students? Are you addressing your colleagues? Are you specifically addressing your professor? So in this particular section, we're going to discuss what does that look like and the importance of that. What is the purpose of our study? Do we hope to influence our colleagues? Do we hope to influence the whole field of education? For me specifically, do I hope to influence the field of music education? So, in your overall project, we're just going to discuss in this chapter the targets of your project and why the degree of detail importance. So, for example, if in this project you put something together to address your colleagues, but you might want to present it to your principal. Do you want to leave certain information in? Do you want to take certain information out? So, keeping in mind when you're putting together your action research project is how much detail are you putting into in regards to who you're addressing. So the first thing we're going to discuss is the common issue number one. Consider the audience. So in your action research project, one of the things that I think is very important after reading the Sega reading is keeping in mind if someone was reading your project or if you were presenting this project, who are you targeting? Are you presenting at an education conference? Are you presenting at a PTA meeting? Are you presenting at a faculty meeting? So definitely who you're trying to target in the information that you're embedding in your project or how you lay out the format or the framework of your project is very important. Do we want to help us learn? So do we want to learn? Do you want your audience to learn more about the topic, or do you want to inform your audience of the topic, or do you want to help influence others to kind of look forward into the topic? All right. So at the bottom here we have keeping in mind your audience. Um, are you addressing your colleagues? Or are you addressing other educators in the same context or same content area? So these are some things to consider as you're putting together any kind of project is who am I addressing at the end of the day? So common issue number two, according to Sager, would be purpose. What decisions need to be made? So reading on page 182, Sager cites all action research reports share one purpose to help inform decisions on future action. So, in reference to putting together any kind of action research project or any kind of large body of work like this, keeping in mind that we are informing others of what actions could be made. So, are you informing a new teaching strategy? Are you informing and day information about how students receive information? So keeping in mind of and those type of issues of pushing in the direction that you want to influence change in what you do. So definitely providing a lot of information based on your data collection, the outcome of your data. Definitely lots of resources that support what it is that you're trying to explain. Are definitely very important to addressing common issue number two is decisions that need to be made and how you're influencing those decisions amongst your peers or other educators. Common issue number three, degree of detail. Preparing information that fits the presentation. So Sager says on page 182, every consumer of an action research report won't need or want the same degree of detail. So if you're presenting, kind of a new teaching strategy and you want to present it to a principal might be really engaged at the end of the day about, okay, well, how does this help benchmark testing, and other things of that nature. So because they're looking at a big picture. Same if you're presenting the same type of information to maybe a parent-teacher conference, some of that information might not be necessary. So kind of, I don't want to say water it down, but cutting out parts that are important to the specific person that you're speaking to. Some strategies and helping to put together how you might do that is consider a map or a matrix to determine the focus of the presentation. So you could write all the ideas that you have at the end of the day about what you want to talk about or what your overall project is about. Kind of tier them in a certain order of what's more important than others. So that way, if you're getting ready to present at a board meeting or something like that, or at a conference, or even in a class like this, you're being very specific about getting straight to the point as far as information, as far as who you're addressing at the end of the day. So for me, for example, as a music educator, um, we might be talking about teaching strategies or some level of how do we motivate children. And so instead of me talking about a bunch of pedagogy that might pertain to my particular subject matter, I really want to focus on information and resources that talks about motivation in specific areas like that. So that way, we're all kind of speaking the same common language at the end of the day.